Hello and welcome to another episode of the MLS UK Show. I'm Henry Hewitt, and as always I'm joined by...
Elliot Holman. Thanks for joining us.
So Elliot, we are getting closer and closer to decision day. We are speaking actually on the Wednesday evening here in the UK, so we may be able to get this episode out in time for tonight's fixtures. If not, then we'll get it out on Thursday and we'll try and make it as relevant as we can without knowing whether Miami are Supporters Shield champions, if you get what I'm saying.
I think we know who's going to be Supporters Shield champions, whether it's tonight, whether it's at the weekend. I think we all know where that's going. Well,
yeah, actually, let's just pretend that Miami have won it already.
Yeah, congratulations to Miami. It hurts me less to say it now when it's not true, so we'll go with that.
Yeah, if you prepare yourself for the worst, Elliot, then, you know, if it doesn't happen, then you'll be happy.
Yeah, I don't know how happy I can be about the way they've dominated, regardless of what happens from here. But of course, it's a unique league, isn't it? It's taken me a long while to get used to the fact that you could win the Supporters Shield, but if you're not winning the playoffs, no one really cares. It's a bizarre situation. You know, I'm looking at the likes of Charlotte creeping in at the end just to go and win the whole thing.
Yeah, well, I think that's going to be the theme of today's episode is momentum as we head towards the playoffs. Just for any context, for any Miami fans who might be joining us for the first time, Elliot is an Orlando fan. He doesn't have an agenda against Miami apart from the fact that he's an Orlando fan. So who knows? You may get to get him back in the playoffs. And the way Orlando are playing, it might be later on in the playoffs because you're going for that top 4 spot.
Yeah, fair play to Miami. They're still 19 points ahead of us, but it's been for the third year running, is it? Pareja's got Orlando up and running too late, but here we are. We're about to enter the playoffs. We've clinched. Oh, I hate that word. And it's all about momentum, isn't it?
It is. So we're going to talk more about what's happening in Major League Soccer in a moment. But first, as we always do at the start of an MLS UK show, we've got the game with a changing name, or its rightful name, the Anton Walkes game with a changing name. This is where Elliot will tell me a career path of a player who has played both in the UK and in MLS, and I have to guess it before the end of the show. So Elliot, well, I shouldn't say who, but what is the career path today?
Yeah, so this player's middle name, we've become obsessed with middle names, is Ryder.
Ryder. I like that. It's a strong name.
I want you to have a guess at their nationality straight off the bat with the surname Ryder.
US. Gotta be.
Wrong. They're from Leeds. I don't know how. Right. I don't know how they've been born in Leeds and have the surname Ryder, but each to their own. This player is 30 years old, started their career at Huddersfield Town in Yorkshire. They went on loan to Halifax Town, Radcliffe Borough, Hartlepool United, Accrington Stanley, before playing for Rangers, Northampton, Rotherham, Middlesbrough, and now an MLS team.
You have done me rotten there because as a person who has to put the graphic up on the YouTube video, I've got a lot of teams to put on there, including Radcliffe Borough. Radcliffe Borough, I'm from Bury, so they're the next town over. I never thought I'd be hearing Radcliffe Borough on this MLS podcast, but here we are. It's 2024 and quite clearly anything can happen. Off the top of my head, not got a clue, but I feel it's the Middlesbrough link that's going to get it for me.
102 appearances for Middlesbrough before moving to the Western Conference.
Oh, if you think you know, get in touch at MLS UK Show on X, on Instagram, on TikTok as well. Or you can, if you're watching on YouTube, just comment below and it'll tell us where you are in the podcast, so we'll know if you've gone to the very end and just cheated. So that'll be revealed at the very end. But first, we need to talk MLS.
MLS UK Show with Elliot Holman and Henry Hewitt.
So we need to talk about MLS as if this isn't an MLS podcast. But we're firstly going to start with Inter Miami. Of course, we're going to talk about Inter Miami as they have pretty much clinched Supporters Shield title, which, Elliot, you can use the term clinch the title, even though they've already clinched their playoff spots. But I want to talk about Leo Messi, obviously, but this story's come out today. Apparently he, I'm not going to repeat what he said, but he used some foul language, some abusive language towards a referee. Didn't get penalised for it. Is this the equivalent of the best player at high school who can just do whatever they want because they're the best player? They can go into classes and just disrupt them, but the high school needs them for the sports department. Is this the same?
Can I ask about a technicality? Was it on the field or off the field?
I believe it was on the field.
And it was those 3 words that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, off air I told you. Yeah.
Does this not happen all the time? I feel like it wasn't even that bad.
Well, I'm sure it does, and I'm sure that referees love to penalise players. I don't think it's necessarily a sending off. I don't know, maybe. Depends how close he is to his mum.
Wait, sorry. We've all watched enough football, soccer in our lives. The referees are being told to go away. They're being told to, all sorts. Like, way worse than that on a daily basis. You often see it on replays. You can lip read. They just let it slide. It's because it's Messi, presumably.
Well, yeah, this is my point. I think that any average Joe MLS player would be at least getting a booking for that, or at least it may even be sent off. Like I said, depends how close the referee is to his mum, I guess, in the term that was used. But like the fact that this has then come out a few days later, I don't know. I just think there's also a part of me that thinks if I was the referee, I would be telling all of my friends that Leo Messi has swore at me. I think that's quite cool. But I don't know. Is Messi getting special treatment because it is Leo Messi? And let's face it, if he got sent off, that isn't good. He's not playing in the league.
Some of the things that get said to referees are way, way worse. We see them. You can lip read. It happens all the time. They get booked. They tell the referee to, and there's no way this is the worst thing that's been said to a referee, even in that match. Let alone in MLS this season. This is just blown out of proportion. Surely,
I tell you what, I do like that Leo Messi has got a bit of bite about him. This is the most I've watched Messi, to be honest, because I don't really watch La Liga. I watch bits, and then I guess in the Champions League I've seen him, and then the French League. I've been watching him pretty much every week for the last 12, 18 months. And I've seen this bite in Messi, and I really like it. And the fact that, for context, it came after the VAR call that Miami had got a penalty, and then they turned it over. So he was upset. He was frustrated. It's the middle of a game. They're going for Supporters Shield. And he had a go at the referee. So I like it. And if I was that referee, I'd be buzzing. But I do think maybe Messi is getting a bit of special treatment because he is Leo Messi.
Messi could call me whatever he wants. I wouldn't care.
Right, let's have a look further down the table, because quite a lot of teams have now clinched their spot in the end of season playoffs and can have a bit of a relaxing period unless you're going for the top 4 in the next 2 games. The team I want to talk about, though, who did clinch, I'll say again, clinched their spot in the irony being possibly the worst way possible at the weekend, was New York Red Bulls. Congratulations to them. They've made the playoffs for a 15th straight season, which is an incredible feat, although they did lose 5-1 in the Hudson River Derby. So maybe there weren't much celebrating going on Saturday evening.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that they were celebrating that too much. They've currently got the exact same amount of points as their rivals, NYCFC, same points per game as well, and same games played. It's a really bizarre story, but ultimately maybe they could meet again in the playoffs. Perhaps we see both teams go deep in the playoffs. I remember watching New York City FC play at the was it City Field, where we had the net in the way of the camera the whole time in the playoffs. Hopefully we can do a little bit better than that.
Yeah, hopefully NYCFC can start a bit of a run themselves of making the playoffs, just so when they move stadiums, we can actually get a decent camera shot of a playoff match. But in this game, it was incredible. And this is, you know, we talked about momentum. Red Bulls, who are, I mean, this is going to do them a lot of damage. They've got to come back from this because the defence was awful. What, 6 minutes in, they've made 2 defensive errors already for 0-2. Almost did another one, you know, for 3-0 after 10 minutes. They get a goal back, and then 2 minutes later, NYCFC make it 3-1. So, yeah, a lot of work needs doing for Red Bulls. But on the other hand, NYCFC, what a result this is. I mean, could you see them surprising people? Could you see them going deep in the playoffs?
Yeah, we mentioned that they're level on NYCFC, are level on points with Red Bulls, but Red Bulls have drawn a lot of games. And so it kind of feels like they've scraped their way in a little bit, and of course clinched while losing to NYCFC heavily. So I think NYCFC have got a good chance actually. And I always try to view the playoffs with a fresh pair of eyes, really, because it's like it all starts again. Anybody can beat anybody in this league. We see it week in, week out, so there's no reason why it can't happen in the playoffs over a one-off game. There's no reason why NYCFC can't go on to win this, but I'd say the same against the likes of Charlotte, who are yet to clinch but are really, really close to doing so.
Yes, they are, and getting draws away at Miami is going to do them I mean, just imagine if you're Charlotte now, you're going to play, if not all, but the majority of your playoff matches if you're going far away, but you've just got a point away at Miami. That's going to do you so much for your confidence, and pretty much then you can think, well, if we can get a draw at Miami, we can pretty much do anything anywhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Miami have really, really raised the bar this season, and if you can get a result there, it gives you a little bit of confidence. The teams around them who are going to be taking them on in the playoffs, you know, the ones that have managed to stifle them a little bit, will be quietly confident.
So moving to the West then, congratulations to Vancouver, who have clinched their spot in the playoffs. Now, they've not clinched a spot that doesn't include the wildcard games, so they've still got work to do there. They also won the Canadian Championship last week, so well done to them. My friend John, who's from, well, he's not from there, he's from Merseyside, but he lives in Vancouver. He's back. I'm going to his wedding tomorrow, so he'll be happy, and I'm sure he'll be talking to me about how great Brian White is and Ryan Gold. So actually, funnily enough, he sent me because he had a ceremony in Canada as well, and he sent me a link, and Vancouver Whitecaps had a few mentions in the wedding ceremony. So yeah, that was great. But yeah, Vancouver, we've said before, you know, they're one of them teams who, okay, are you expecting them to get to MLS Cup? No, but they could go far. They've got that about them that we could pull something off.
I don't know why they couldn't, to be honest with you. I think the West is obviously been a lot closer because they haven't got Miami running away with it, setting a real precedent for points. Vancouver must be 10, 11 points off the top spot. It's not a huge gap, 3 wins and a draw maybe. You know, over the course of a season, it's not massive, and they can definitely cause, I don't even want to call it an upset. They could definitely get a couple of results in the playoffs that would put them in a really strong position. So
we've got to say congratulations to Vancouver. We've also got to say congratulations to LAFC, who won US Open Cup against SKC last week as well. And I mean, LAFC at the moment, if you're looking at the table, they're in second. They've got a game in hand over LA Galaxy, 6 points behind to try and win the West. We talked about momentum and taking stuff into the last part of the season to get into the playoffs. I mean, LAFC have kind of stuttered a little bit in recent weeks, but this win last week, picking up a trophy, I think that could do them a world of good going into the playoffs. It just gives them that confidence. I think sometimes when you hold a trophy in your hands, even though it's not Supporter Shield, it's US Open Cup, you get the feel for it. I can imagine. I mean, I've never won a trophy in professional soccer, but I can imagine it'll, give them some confidence and make them want to do it again.
I won Most Improved Player once, which I think tells quite a good story. I agree. I think they're used to being one of the bigger teams in the league. There's a lot of teams around them Colorado, Houston, Vancouver, who aren't viewed as giants of MLS. LAFC definitely are, and they lifted that trophy, and I think it's a huge confidence boost, getting back into that winning feeling. They of course arrived in the league and were flying immediately, similar to Atlanta, of course, back in 2017. And I really think they'll first of all want to chase down LA Galaxy, and then they'll want to chase after Miami in the playoffs. Yeah,
well, we'll have to see what happens with LAFC. They are one of those sides who, like you said, from the West, it's very open. But if you have to put money on at the moment to see who would go, who would get to MLS Cup, LAFC would definitely be up there, along with Galaxy, possibly with Seattle as well. But saying that, RSL and Colorado have had improved seasons too. It's how open it is. Right, so before we move on to the game that Elliot has provided for us today, I want to just talk about MVP. Now, this is wide open as well, and we're going to talk maybe a bit more about it in the next few weeks, but you've got names in there like Evander, you've got names like Cucho, who scored a great goal at DC the other day. Of course, Benteke is going to probably win Golden Boot. Boanga's chasing him. Elliot, is there any players at the moment who you've got other than those that could perhaps cause an upset, or are we delaying the inevitable and MLS will just give it to Messi anyway?
They will definitely give it to Messi. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that they will give it to Messi, which it's a shame really, because there's a conversation to be had about, for me, Benteke, an MLS UK player, of course. It's a fantastic season he's had. Let's be honest, where are DC? 12th. I mean, that's an abysmal team that he is dragging off the foot of the table. And if they were up there, if they were challenging, he'd be in the conversation, but he isn't. And that's crazy. They will just, of course, inevitably give it to Messi.
The MLS UK Show.
So welcome back to the MLS UK Show. Now it's time where we head over to Derbyshire, to Elliot, and he plays us another game. We've had some good ones so far. We've had the middle name game. We've had the return of the Christ is Right. Elliot, what is it this week?
Well, this is a name game, but it's not for players. It's for clubs. And I think you're going to enjoy this. You know when you get the US Open Cup and you get Atlanta United and they play a team that's like geographically fairly close to them.
Charleston Battery.
Yeah.
There we go.
I've gone through some names of American soccer clubs that are not quite so famous as Charleston Battery. And I've also made some up. You've got to work out which are the real ones and which are the fake ones.
Okay, I think I might, famous last words. I think I might be quite good at this, but go on, let's go. Let's see how I do.
Okay, now behave yourself with some of these, by the way. Just saying. And you at home, behave yourself. First up, the Maryland Munchers.
No, not having that.
Not real?
Not real. That's from your brain, which is worrying.
Oh, it gets much worse than that. You are correct. Up next, the Portland Pilots.
Yes.
You think it's real?
Yeah.
It is real. Congratulations.
Oh, yes.
100% record. Okay, up next, the Wake Forest Wolfwalkers.
What's a Wolfwalker? No.
They put him on a lead. You think it's fake?
Yep.
It is fake. It's 3 from 3. It's good. It's impressive. Up next, the Notre Dame Duke Doorhammers.
Wow.
I know.
Just because I don't know where that is going to fit on their badge. No, that is fake.
He's 4 from 4. The man's on fire. Up next, the Wisconsin Badgers.
Ooh, Wisconsin Badgers.
I think this one's hard because it's like it's not out there, it's not wild. But have you heard of it?
Badgers are wild. I'm gonna say no, because I don't know. Are there any badgers in America? I'm not sure.
Great. It's a really good question. You're wrong. Finally, I've got him.
Oh.
It's real. Couple more. The St. Cloud, which is in Minnesota. St. Cloud Rainbow Storms.
No, come on. No.
He's right again.
I literally am going off, would this fit on a badge? And Rainbow Storms, St. Cloud Rainbow Storms is too long.
Well, the final two will fit on a badge. And one of them is a women's team. Texas Tall Trees.
I hope it is, so yes.
No, made it up.
Oh.
And finally, everyone behave themselves. The Virginia Vulvas.
For banter, yes, that's a team.
Henry, come on, mate. Come on. Let's not be silly about this. I completely made it up. And I knew I could lure you in with it.
But if anyone wants to start that team up, then there you go. But
I was just looking on the map,
Virginia.
and as soon as I saw Virginia, I was like, yep, I know exactly where I'm going with this one. Thank you for playing along, and I hope you did well at home, as well as Henry did. It was a very impressive performance. Well done, mate.
Yeah, and I think that shows as we'll say we're still in our early 30s. It shows our maturity, and humour level.
Remember when Montreal had Fanny and Bush at the back?
Yeah, we were in our late 20s then, and it's still funny. Right, well let's move on to the game of the changing name. At the start of the episode, you gave me the career path of a player who now plays in the Western Conference of MLS. They used to play in the UK, and I had to guess who it is. I'm pretty confident that through talking about the Western Conference, I have now realised who that is. But Elliot, how about you give us the career path again?
Okay, so they started at Huddersfield Town. They were on loan at Halifax, Radcliffe Borough, Hartlepool United, Accrington Stanley. They played for Rangers, Northampton Town, Rotherham United, Middlesbrough, and Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, it was the Middlesbrough link. It is Matt Crooks.
It is Matt Crooks, born 1994. Matt Davidson Ryder Crooks.
Great name. Great
Ryder.
name. So well done if you got that right, as well as me. We'll do another one on the next episode of the MLS UK show. Right, so hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. Hopefully my microphone has worked for the whole episode, unlike last week, where it didn't. And thanks for people who pointed that out. We're going to be back next time, but if you want to be in the know, and if you want notifying of when our next episode is released, then there's two ways to do it. If you're listening through audio, if you're on your podcast provider, then subscribe, follow us, and if you've liked it so much, then please leave a review and a rating. But Elliot, if you are going to leave a rating, there's one rule and one rule only.
Ricky Pouge and LA Galaxy style, 5 stars only.
What are we going to do if LA Galaxy win MLS Cup?
We'll just get a 6th star on the review, is fine.
Yeah, well, there we go. Right, if you're watching on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you don't already. Click the notification bell and you'll know the next time we release an episode. And comment in the comments as well, because it helps put us into more home pages and news feeds and stuff like that. Right, so we'll be back next time. I've been Henry Hewitt.
And I've been Elliot Holman.
See ya.